By the way, we've got them in. How Weed Won the West, exposing government drug dealing, narcotics trafficking, how they bring it in to launder the money, and as an excuse to legalize slavery again. When you use any of these drugs, they then get to put you in their private prisons, predominantly owned by the big banks that launder the drug money. So the drug dealers get to use their drugs and then put you in their own prisons. CIA drug dealing, all of it available at Infowars.com. Ships out next Monday. How Weed Won the West that I'm in and consulted on. It's excellent. Also, you can pre-order Jesse Ventura's new book, American Conspiracies. It's excellent. We'll be shipping it first in early March. Pre-order it now. You can get free films when you order it. Check out those deals at Infowars.com. Our guest will be with us into the next segment. Really appreciate him having this big discussion with me today. And I know it's informative for myself and for you out there listening. I've always told listeners that there's also another byproduct of the government lying and corporations lying. Then there's a total loss of faith in everything. People stop researching. They just don't believe anything, and society collapses. Look at Mexico. Look at North Korea. Mexico's so corrupt. They have 3 times the resources we have. But the culture of corruption, people just lay down and don't produce anything. That's how they keep from being robbed. That's why the Soviet Union collapsed. I tell you that there's COINTELPRO trying to discredit me, anybody else that's good. You know you're good, though. You know the world's only going to be better if you get involved and lift other people up. You know you can trust yourself, so take action. Don't get involved in all the infighting and the bitterness and everything that gets pushed in this culture. Now, going back to our guest, sir, we look at all this. What are some other solutions you found to get people out of their desperation, out of their capitulation to corruption?
One of the things that I've learned over the years in terms of what has helped me and what has been helpful for people I've known and worked with is that asking themselves, like, what are they doing really is a healthy risk, and usually risks build some strength for people. So, there's certain things when you are like speaking truths in certain areas, you are definitely taking some risks. For me, certain times where I'm telling colleagues, who already get what I'm talking about, it's just a kind of fun conversation. It's enjoyable to do. Maybe it builds some community. But there's other situations where you're in a situation where you're going to pay a certain price for it, a political price, an economic price, and you're going to do something there, then you're going to take a certain risk, and that's going to build a certain degree of self-respect. So I think generally, what can you do out there to kind of like build yourself some support? How can you kind of eliminate people in your life who really don't get it, will never get it, and are really going to be trying to undermine you and abuse you and make you feel less? And how are you going to find people out there who are going to be, validating, supportive of you?
So you're saying don't put up with backstabbers and backbiters and really negative people. Get a better peer group, get into a group of healthier people, and challenge yourself. Don't just preach to the choir. Go out there and build your confidence.
Those are a couple of major areas, yes.
Continue.
Well, I think just in general, specifically, for a lot of people out there who are like, don't believe that they can't do anything out there, that they don't respect that the whole employment world out there is one where they have to like lose complete integrity. That's unfortunately rough for a lot of us out there, that we have to eat crow a lot. And so one of the things I tell folks is that, hey, if you have to because your kids are going to starve to death, hey, that's okay. But don't kid yourself when you're doing it just for some extra confidence, some extra security. Again, just take wherever you can intelligent risks. I mean, a big thing is that school, I have to, that's a whole other topic of how that breaks people. School, I would say school, television, and the mental health profession are some of the big areas that really break young people. But, one of the things that, that life is very different than school. Life's not going to give you an F for failure, okay? Life is going to reward you, for taking some risks.
Doctor, we got 5 minutes left. We got 5 minutes left. A 1 minute break. We're going to come back. Let's talk about those 3 pillars of control. Okay, coming up the next segment, News Blitz and more of your phone calls. Key info coming up. Dr. Bruce E. Levine is our guest. His website's www.brucelevine.net, brucelevine.net. Got it linked up on Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. He's an author Just search his name. A lot of great research. Okay, so in the last 5 minutes we've got with you, sir, you were talking about the 3 big pillars of mind control, of oppression: school, TV, and mental health. People don't even communicate with each other anymore. 4.5 hours of TV, and it's growing. I guess just turning the TV off is one giant step towards freedom.
Oh, my God, yeah, that's about the easiest thing that you could do. I mean, out there, if you've got any kind of strength, any kind of energy left, I mean, just watch, as little television as you possibly can. It's not just the content that's killing you. What it does is it just kind of affects your brain waves. It puts you in this kind of passive, hypnotized state, and it's just one of the most highly pacifying things that they've ever come up with here to control the population. Again, it's not just the content.
Continue.
Well, school, I mean, is one of the kinds of things that you can't get an issue that you get more Democrats and more Republicans to totally shake hands and agree on, I mean, if you take a look at the No Child Left Behind Act, you got George W. Bush wanting to throw more money at that, Obama loves school. There's nothing that these guys love more than school. Why is that? Because forever people have known, from, I mean, it's not just Bruce Levine here. It's like from Thoreau to, from H.L. Mencken, anybody who's thought critically at all about school understands that this is not the place where most people get any kind of education. It's just a place to kind of subdue them. One thing, if you guys have never had on your show here, John Taylor Gatto is an interesting guy who actually won the New York City Teachers of the Year Award in 1990. And then he basically kind of laughed at what a joke it was. And I'll give you one quick quote here from him, from Mr. Gatto here. He says, I've noticed a fascinating phenomenon in my 25 years of teaching, that schools and schooling are increasingly irrelevant to the great enterprises of the planet. No one believes anymore that scientists are trained in science classes or politicians in civics classes or poets in English classes. The truth is that schools don't really teach anything except how to obey orders. Okay? Most critically thinking kids know that. Most people realize that the way you learn things is not in a classroom, it's on your own. That's certainly how almost everything I was taught, in classrooms about psychology is just basically a way to kind of, not
well, schools 3,000 years ago were all at local temples that taught certain so-called sciences, and they were cults. They were secret societies of knowledge, and now it's just a way to get people in debt and keep all these young people from starting their own businesses, going in their own directions. We see almost all the big inventors and people never even went to college because they hit...
You're making a good point here. It's like this is these guys that I'm talking about were just criticizing high school, but now as you've got more kind of like pressuring people and shaming people that they have to go to college, at the same time you're jacking up their debt and their interest rates, and you've completely created almost a new indentured servant population of folks who are pressured and forced to go to schools because they were told that that they're never going to be able to survive out there with a college education,
and they're stalled from entering the workforce.
Right, and it takes it's very hard once that's another way to really oppress and subdue a population. Give them a pile of debt, and that's what they're doing. That's what our society is doing to what should be the most rebellious population, your young adults, and they're not rebelling very much because they're all terrified. They're all filled with not only student debt, credit card debt, everything like that, and it's just like for them, they're just drowning in that.
Man, you really are speaking the truth because. The only good reason to go to school is to meet like-minded people that are into the same thing, maybe meet your mate. I mean, it really is worthless.
Right. I mean, it was a good deal if you're rich, hey, and Daddy's going to pay for it. It was an okay deal. You get drunk, you have some fun, meet some people from the opposite sex. In my day, before where you still had public institutions where you didn't have to pay, which was me if you were working class, which is what I was. Dad worked for the post office. They were public institutions. It didn't cost me any money to go. It was a pretty good deal to spend 3-4.
Well, hold on.
Years.
Also, in the past, Doctor, you had to go to a school because that's where the books were kept. Now we have the internet. You know what? Let me twist your arm for 5 more because I want you to get to the third pillar, mental health, in closing. Stay with us.